Hey guys, a quick video on spark plug change on a '08 Yaris. I mean, it's pretty standard procedure for any car, really. This is a '08 Yaris. I've changed plugs already on my Prius in my previous video. That's my other car. This is also another simple. I'm a big fan of Yaris. I've had this car for 2 years and put close to 40,000 miles on it. But yeah, it's pretty straightforward. You got 4 caps here. You just undo 1, 2, 3, 4. You got the cover here, so the cover comes right off. Which gives you access to the plugs, coils. You just need to use a little flathead to get in there. And, it's a little hard to do with one hand, but let me see if I can. Make this work here. So I just need to pry this open a little bit and wiggle at the same time. Come on. There you go. It's number 4. Different route. That's not gonna fit in there. It's a little bit too thick. Once you remove these plugs, all you need to do is get these coils off, and the way you remove them is by removing these bolts right there. So you got 4 bolts for each of the coils, and that's the next step. So once we remove those 4 bolts, then you just wiggle the coil out. Inspect the boot, look inside. Seems to be all right. It's number 4. Number 3. Number 2. So far they all look all right. The reason why I'm doing the spark plug change is I'm about to hit 90,000 miles, and occasionally I feel the engine shake a little stutter. So I figured, you know what, spark plug's only 30 bucks. Might as well just check how they are and just change them out, because when I got the car I had 40,000 miles, so I doubt there was any work done prior to it. I changed out the air filter, the cabin filter. I put a new battery also because the old battery was slowly dying. As you can see, the filter down there, super tech Walmart special synthetic oil. So let's go ahead and get our spark plug adapter with the extension. This is a 5/8, and the way you just push that in, you should feel it when it gets a little snug and it grabs onto the spark plug, and you'll notice that you can't twist it because it's in there pretty tight. So now we're gonna use our ratchet and we'll just go ahead and crank that. And it's gonna need 2 hands for that. Apparently it's in there pretty snug. Got some movement. I can just shake it a little bit, try to pull it. So that's the first plug. It's coming off. It's loose there now. Once it's out, you'll be able to pull this guy right out. So let's take a look at the tip. Yeah, it's an old plug. So we're gonna definitely change these out. That's the first one. Time to change that. It's not in that great of a condition. Again, it's not too expensive to replace these plugs. You get the iridium densos, you know, always go with a good OEM spec plug. Again, you just want to make sure it's in there, and then it's in there pretty tight. Obviously, if you have a longer stemmed wrench, there's better leverage on it, less pressure that you have to apply. But you know, sometimes you just work with what you got. Nothing wrong with what you have. It's good to invest in some good tools. Let's see how does number 2 look like. Also, yeah, he's pretty quiet. Definitely worth changing out. So this is the last plug, number 4, that we're taking out. That's my neighbor's dog, Gamma. Yeah, it's also 4th one in bad shape. So we got the 4 plugs out, and let's take a look. So here are the 4 plugs. We're gonna replace those. These are NGKs, iridiums. And so, you know, one thing is that this car had these plugs replaced at some point, because Toyotas do not come with NGK plugs. So we're gonna replace them because we don't know exactly how long they've been there. So I picked up Iridium's Denso's SK16R11s. Got 4 of them. Good thing about being an owner of a Prius and a Yaris, it's the same set of plugs. So you can just buy them in batches and use them on both cars. You don't have to worry about buying separate plugs for different cars. So it's the same exact process as we remove them. We're gonna go through and install them one by one. So we got 4 plugs here. So we're gonna replace each plug at a time. It's a little bit easier to do it with 2 hands, but so the plugs, when you open them up, they come with a little protector cap. So you don't want to touch that tip over there that's nice and clean. You don't want to touch it, get that dirty, get any kind of dirt, grime, grease, anything there, because that's where the spark take place. Hence the name spark plug. Optimus Prime, the all spark of all your vehicles. So let's go ahead and take that out. What we're gonna do is a little bit of a challenge here. So we're gonna take the plastic cap off. And we are going to take the plug. We're going to take the adapter. We're going to push that into the adapter. Right, now that it's in, slowly insert that into the respective slot and turn clockwise to lock it in place. So we're just going to turn until we feel that it's in there and it's hand tightened. So now we can no longer hand tighten. At this point, we will take our ratchet and just snugly be snug and tighten that. Alright, I think that's in there pretty tight. You don't want to over tighten because that will create a problem. So now the trick to getting this adapter back out is if you pull it, you're gonna lose the socket inside it. So the trick is to wiggle it. Continue to wiggle it counterclockwise and clockwise, and then you will eventually slowly pull at the same time. And you see what I mean? It gets stuck in there, so you just gotta push it back in. Continue to wiggle it, and eventually it will come out like so. Voila, magic. So now we do the same process with the other 3 plugs. So as we get to the last plug here, just going in slowly. You'll hear it. You know, when you're going through it, you do feel it. You can feel feel the plug going in and tightening. Again, you just gotta take it easy, slow and steady. There's no rush. So when you're working on your car, you should enjoy working on your car. Take pleasure in working on your car. So once it's hand tightened, you just torque it, lock it in, make sure it's nice and tight. Just want to shake it and get the adapter out with your tool. Otherwise, you see how this comes out? Nothing to be scared about. Takes a couple tries. Number 3 took a little bit longer. I was really holding on to the plug. And we're gonna come back. So eventually, once a little bit of wiggle, you get the adapter out, the extension out. The next thing to do is, before we put the coils back on, we're going to apply a little bit of spark plug boot protector. We're going to apply that to the inner walls of the spark plug, the coil right here. So you're just going to apply it nice and generously. As you can see, that's in there. But once that's done, just make sure you clean up your coils. You know, it does collect a lot of dirt and such things over time. So clean up whatever you can before plug things in. And the enjoyment you get on working on your car is always telltale signs that I love working on my car. This, for example, is a sign. So here is, once you put the dielectric grease on there, you just put the coil back in. I'm gonna repeat the steps on number 2, 3, and 4. So stay tuned. Got number 2 inbound. It's nice and clean. So we're just gonna apply some grease there. That's that. Let me take number 2, clean that up a little bit on the edges. Once you clean that up, pop that into number 2. And then off to number 3 we go. We get over number 3 and same thing. up the rubber seal. Once you clean that up, line that, and there goes number 3. And those will get locked in once we put the bolts on. And I'm just going to take number 4. Number 4, I'm going to prepare that the same exact way. Once that's done, again, last, you just clean. You always want to make sure you clean the rubber seal. Number 4 is in. So now we just finish up the touches with closing this bad boy up. So we lock all the coils in. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's a nice classic looking car right there going by. Nice. Epic. Number 3. And number 4. The beauty of certain things is that you don't ever have to worry about becoming so anal about why did this bolt come out, which one did it go in, which one did it come out, does it have to go back in the same place? It's just a bolt. Don't worry about it. So once we have that, we're going to tighten that up. I'm just hand tightening it for now. And then just maybe about a quarter turn after you hand tighten, you'll see that you don't want to over tighten. It's just, you can feel that it's tight, because if you go over tighten, then you're going to chew the thread, and then that's a whole different level of problem you have to deal with that you're introduced to yourself, and then you're not going to sleep well. And then something that's simple as changing out a spark plug for $30 that turned into a couple $100 job if you don't want. So now once that's in, number 1, number 2 click, number 3 click, number 4 click. So you can technically turn the car on, test it to make sure that the cylinders are firing, you don't have any kind of misfire. The engine starts up nice and clean. And to finish everything off, we put this beautiful VVTi dress back on. A beautiful car of ours. Put the caps back on. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So before owning this Yaris, a 2008 Yaris, I owned a 2000 Toyota Echo, and I fell in love with the engine and the whole Echo line. It was such a small, simple car, easy to work on, very, very simple. I'm not a mechanic of any sort, but you know, in the 21st century, you know, you have YouTube, a wonderful, wonderful place where, you know, you can find so much knowledge and good information. The question is it good information, or there's a fine line between fact and opinion, obviously. But there's a lot of wealth of knowledge, and you have to take everything with a grain of salt. But that's how I learned to do a lot of maintenance on my cars. That's what I do on my Echo. I had changed out the struts on that, the brakes, rotors, all this, a lot of simple basic maintenance you could do it yourself. And then on the Prius, which I picked up about 2 months ago, I changed the inverter pump, and another video that I did on the water getting into the cylinders, where the cowl had a crease, and that was letting the water in. So but I like doing stuff myself, whatever I can do myself, with the support of my close friend, who happens to have majority of the tools that I ever need. So I could just take my car. This is simple enough that I could do at home, because you don't need anything crazy, just a basic set of tools. I have a breaker bar. When you're working on wheels or something, some difficult place where you need to, something like this just won't cut it because it's too small and doesn't give you the leverage. A breaker bar does a great job. So I have that in a torque wrench, but nothing else, crazy. Car jack and the stands. But anyways, so we're done. The spark plugs are replaced, and we're gonna go ahead and turn the car on. So here we go. If I can find the right key for the car. My Prius keys hanging, and this key. So let's go. That's plugged in. Yeah, another thing about Yaris is don't ever lend your keys to people when they ask for it. It doesn't matter how well you know them, because you will get a key back like this. Luckily, I took the key, the key came out, and luckily it's not an electronic key. So when you open this up, the metal key itself is just sitting there. So I was able to, start the car and turn off the car to come back home. But yeah, I lent my key to somebody, and this is what they did to it. So anywho, I was able to go to my local, Home Depot wouldn't do it, but I went to Ace Hardware and I gave them my key, the key, that the metal piece that comes out of the fob, and they were able to make a key for me. $7.50 versus when you go to Toyota dealership, and I don't know, whatever the hell they want to charge, but Ace Hardware. So let's go ahead and turn it on. Yep, turns on nice and smooth. The revs are a little higher. They will eventually come back down once the cool sign goes away. Let's see, maintenance required light went on. Oh my god, we're at, oh my god, I can't even see that. 4470. So I did my oil change 4,470 miles ago. I do about 100, anywhere between 120 to 150 miles a day. So yeah, you're looking at about 4 months. Every 4 months I'm probably pushing about 10,000 miles where I'm doing an oil change. So that's why, the Super Tech Walmart filter and the oil, it comes in handy. I tend to do it a little bit before, because it's not hurting my wallet. The filter is like $3, and the synthetic oil, 5W30, that runs about $12.50 for a 5-gallon jug. So I could do them every 3 months. It's not gonna hurt me or my wallet. But yeah, it's not bad. This is a 08 with 89,211 miles. I bought it 2 years ago at 45,000 miles, and I've had a lot of personal trips. Last year in COVID, I was doing a lot of camping and just being outdoors, away from people. And this year I started doing some work as a medical courier. So it's been, adding a lot of miles and miles and miles on this baby. Hopefully I want to see this car get to, 300,000 miles. Still running strong, knock on wood. It's my everyday driver. Took it to Ohio not too long ago for a weekend trip, and the car's just going strong so far. But anywho, I hope you enjoyed the video, and hope it inspires you guys to also do some basic maintenance yourself and save some money, and use that money to buy some other goodies for your car and buy some good parts and take care of it as it takes care of you. Enjoy.